Today I'm going to talk about Gestalt therapy. So ready? Okay. So what is Gestalt therapy? It's a form of psychotherapy that emphasizes personal responsibility, present moment awareness, a focus on the here and now, and the integration of mind, body, and emotions, developed by Fritz Perls. Gestalt therapies focus on the holistic nature of human experience. Perls emphasize the understanding that the parts constitutions a whole cannot be separated and must be considered as organized and integrated wholes, rather than isolated parts. Therefore, the therapy was named after the German word Gestalt, which means pattern, shape, or form, referring to dynamic wholes. For example, our perception of a flower isn't solely based on the sensory information, like its shape, color, or size, but also includes our past experience and impression of flowers. All of these aspects together form our perception of a flower. The most commonly used and well-known technique in Gestalt therapy is the empty chair technique, where guided by the therapist, the client images themselves in conversations with different aspects of themselves or unresolved issues while sitting in the empty chair. Today, we are using an example of the empty chair technique to explore the world of the Gestalt therapies. Now, let's know more about this case. Okay, this case is a 35-year-old woman comes in for a consultation, dressed sharply in a suit and carrying a briefcase. She interacts with the receptionist in the waiting room with a lot of energy, speaking clearly and logically. During her session with the therapist, she admits that she always portrays herself positively, as capable and reliable, especially in front of others. However, deep down, she often feels overwhelmed and just wants to escape the high-pressure situations, wishing she could just curl up on the couch and be taken care of like a child. Okay, she realized that she puts on a tough front outwardly, while suppressing feelings of weakness inside. In response, the therapist used an empty chair technique, asking the tough and weak selves of the client to have a conversations. Okay, so what is the empty chair technique? Let's introduce the empty chair technique. In the conversations that we found, the clients have the tough self and the weak self. These two selves represent the extreme ends of someone's personality. We call them the top dog and the underdog. It's not the real dog, okay? The top dog is like our inner boss, always telling us what to do and being critical. It's that voice that all about rules and expectations, probably stuff we pick up from our upbringing. On the flip side, the underdog feels suppressed. It intentionally disrupts the decision of the top dog. But secretly, the underdog holds a lot of power, sometimes winning out in conflicts by blocking the top dog's actions. These inner conflicts make us feel confused, restless, and drained. That's where techniques like the empty chair come in handy. It helps us sort out these inner battles by allowing us to experience different parts of ourselves. Listen to our different voices and have a dialogue within ourselves. By doing this, we can integrate these conflicting parts and find resolutions. Plus, it helps us become more self-aware, noticing new insights and feelings, and looking at our problems from a clear perspective. To sum up, we know that the empty chair techniques can help the person that's struggling in the extreme ends of someone's personality. Do you still remember the case that we mentioned at the beginning? A 35-year-old woman with the extreme personalities, the tough self and the weak self. Now it's the time. Let's find out together how the therapy used the empty chair technique to help the client. Let's go.
Weak self of the client.
I don't feel capable enough to handle my life. I don't want to be the one making decisions. It's just too hard.
Tough self of the client.
Hey, calm down. It's okay. How many people are counting on us to take charge? It shouldn't have been me handling all of this. I was barely 10 when my parents started fighting about the boys. Dad wanted me to calm Mom down, and Mom threatened to leave with me just to make Dad compromise.
Therapist.
I found that you're holding yourself tightly. What do you need?
Okay, let's stop at here. Let's figure out why the therapy will ask the client, what do you need? And why the therapy is focused on the client's body motion. In Gestalt therapies, the most important concept is wholeness. Essentially, Gestalt means that disrupting one part disrupts the essential whole. Three pros give an example. 3 pieces of wood form a triangle, but if you separate them, the triangle disappears, and the specific Gestalt is destroyed, as you can see in the PowerPoint. Peirce was particularly concerned with human complexity and diversity. He believed that the division of mind-body or psyche-body is entirely artificial, and emphasizing either side would maintain neurosis. According to him, modern humans have done to artificial separate body and mind. The goal of the Gestalt therapy is to rebuild the inherent wholeness and harmony of individuals. So, at this point, the therapy guides the client to become aware their behavioral reaction during the expression process, identifying when the client is holding on to their body. This helps the client not only perceive their cognitive and emotional response to events, but also become aware of their behavioral reactions and explore what they want in the here and now. This is why the therapy will ask the client, what do you need? And focus on the body language that the clients made. Okay, let's move on to the next part of the conversations.
I'm the one who needs comforting. My parent is adult here. I'm the one who needs comforting.
But our parents still haven't divorced. It's you to help them get together. So I'm still terrified whenever I get their message. I don't know how long they will fight this time. I don't know how they will sacrifice me again to maintain the marriage that should have ended long ago. For a weak girl, it seems like a task too tough.
In this context, the therapies highlight the contrast between the weakness and the need for the client to appear tough within the client's experience.
It shouldn't be my responsibility at all. They always dump too much on me. I'm always asked to carry too much, but I'm not even grown up yet. I'm 35. I just realized when I was silent earlier, I was wondering if my parents' dog would get work next week when they go out for dinner.
So it's either you do it or nobody does it.
It's ridiculous. It takes me 3 hours to go home.
Can you talk about what's ridiculous about it?
As long as I keep quiet, my parents will figure it out themselves. All I want to do is to curl up on the couch and cry.
What do you want right now?
Stop again. The therapist doesn't steer the client in any specific direction, but rather enhance the client's awareness of what is, replacing deliberate attempts to create specific outcomes in therapy. The therapist's role is solely to assist in increasing the client's awareness, facilitating reconnections with aspects of the self that were previously neglected or abandoned.
I don't know. I think I'm the one who wanted to be taken care of. Can you pet me?
5 minutes later.
Therapist asks the patient to notice herself. Patient feel a bit more relaxed.
Okay, learning time again. In the above dialogue, the therapist provides the opportunity and time for the client to become aware of themselves. The goal of Gestalt therapy is not to change the individual itself. Rather, the therapist's job is to help the individual develop their own awareness. As we mentioned before, BEER.C, one of the Gestalt psychotherapists, once said, change occurs when one becomes what he is, not when he tries to become what he is not. This phenomenon is known as the paradoxical theory of change. Therefore, in the dialogue, the therapist fully encourages and guides the client's awareness of their current feelings, thoughts, words, and the often overlooked but frequently expressed body language. For example, body posture, facial expressions, gestures, muscle movement, tone of voice, habitual standing and working postures, and so on. The therapist does not encourage the client's strong sides to overcome their weakness, nor does the therapist express the client's inner desire to be comforted. Instead, through the empty chair technique, the therapist enables the clients to fully experience their own experiences. Okay, let's go on the next page of the conversation.
Do you feel strong or weak right now?
I don't feel weak, but I wouldn't say that I feel strong either. I can admit that I need comfort and care, even though I'm an adult. I don't need to put on the strong side to hide the part of me that needs nurturing or deeply hurt.
Okay, lesson again. After the conversations, whether or not the client accepts both sides, there have changed. In Gestalt therapies, it's believed that everyone has different aspects within them, like two sides of a coin, but often one side gets more attention while the other is pushed aside. Therapy helps when the client starts to accept and acknowledge both sides. This integration is where the real change happens. Gestalt therapies emphasize experiments as well. where the therapist creates a safe and trusting environment for clients to try things they wouldn't dare to in their daily lives. For example, expressing the need to be comforted and seeing what happens. With this experience, clients are more likely to openly express their need for comfort outside therapies when they need it. After the conversation, I think all you guys must learn something about the Gestalt therapy. This therapy isn't about fixing problems, but helping clients understand themselves better. The therapist's role is to create a partnership where clients can explore themselves, try out new things in life, and see what works. They focus on all the obvious things about how clients function, like how they talk, how they work, move, or breathe, to help them become more self-aware. They notice what's missing and what's already there. By doing so, allowing individuals to face their enormous range of experiences with openness and flexibility. Because Gestalt therapy believes that only by facing both positive and negative poles of experience can individuals generate the necessary power to move ahead. Okay, this is the end of today's class. Hope you guys learned something from the Gestalt therapies. Thank you for listening. Bye.